Caitlin Johnstone caught this. So this is Michael McCaul. What's his official position? Could you look up Michael McCaul's official position so we know? And he goes on. He's from the War Machine. I'm going to guess somewhere in the State Department. He's from the War Machine, and he's here to advocate for war in China. And watch this. This is great.
Make the basic case for why Americans not only should care about what happens in Taiwan, but should be willing to spill American blood and treasure to defend Taiwan.
Oh, my God. Spill our blood, but not our treasure. Do what you want with our blood. Just leave our treasure alone. Jon Stewart taught me that. Okay. So now he asked this guy, why should we give a crap about Taiwan?
Why Chuck Todd care?
So here we go. Do we find out who this guy is yet?
Michael McCaul, representative of the 10th District of Texas. Okay. Congressman.
So he's a congressman from Texas, and he's definitely in the pocket of the War Machine, and here we go.
Make the basic case for why Americans not only should care about what happens in Taiwan, but should be willing to spill American blood and treasure to defend Taiwan.
Nobody wants that. I think the deterrence is key here. We traveled to Japan, South Korea. We are in Guam. We're meeting with our allies, our partners here, if you will. They don't have a NATO in the Pacific, but they do have partners. We want to make sure that they are ready and supportive of the United States and Taiwan. The case for Taiwan, that's a very good question. About 50% of international trade goes through the international straits, but I think more importantly, Chuck, is that the TSMC manufactures 90% of the advanced global supply of advanced semiconductor chips. If China invades,
so what he's telling you is all the economic reasons why we're there, why we want to do this, why there's a problem. It's all economic. You hear everything he said is just about an economic war with China. That's it. Okay.
And either owns or breaks this, we're in a world of hurt, globally.
Congressman, it almost sounds like the case that would be.
So Chuck Todd picks up on the same thing everyone else just picked up on and what I just said. And then he says this. This is kind of insightful also and funny because it's also not.
In the 60s, 70s, and 80s of why America was spending so much money and military resources in the Middle East. Oil was so important for the economy. Is this sort of the 20?
So Chuck Todd pretends like we stopped going to war in the Middle East in the 80s for oil. I don't know.
Those times are behind us now.
We invaded Iraq twice, once in the 90s, once in 2003, and then we did Libya, and then Syria. And right now Trump has troops in Syria stealing their oil, and that for the explicit reason of stealing their oil. He said that. And so that's just funny. Chuck Todd can't say we still do that. That's something we used to do 30, 40, 50 years ago.
Yeah.
What?
This is like green stealing.
What is he? So anyway, so he says that. He says, hey, isn't this just like when we used to go to war for oil? Now we're going to war for semiconductors and all that stuff, right? And so watch what the guy says back.
First century version of that?
I personally, I think it's about democracy and freedom.
For microchips? Free those chips.
A reason democracy and freedom, Kurt. A reason so fake and stupid, not even Chuck Todd could come up with it.
He did his credit did not come up with that.
It's about freedom and this is awesome.
So
it's
Chuck's
like,
wants.
If you were writing that sketch, that's what you would write him to say.
Yeah, right. If I also know, right when Chuck Todd said it's like the oil in the 21st. I didn't catch that before. He said in the 21st, as if in the 21st
as if we're not
century,
still doing war for oil.
Is that just the 21st century version?
We just blew up the frickin' pipeline. What? So let's hear something more. So let's say it. Oh no, that was it. That was the end. So I first of all, that is that they're just saying it out loud now, and then he goes, no, democracy freedom used to be about oil. This one's about democracy and freedom. We changed.
Well, because I thought there was when they used to say it's about democracy, it was like, and we're gonna get the oil. Like it was more of a yes and, And I think it's like no, don't think. Hey, for those of you who don't believe that bullshit, we are gonna get microchips. We need microchips.
It's more of a yes and. So Caitlin Johnson tweets that out, right? And people, so look at this guy named Jack Jernigan. First of all, he says, to supposedly not be a Russian propagandist, you sure do have a lot of them responding to your posts. What? So that's what they do. First of all, Jack Jernigan. For someone who's supposedly not a bot, you sure do cry Russian propaganda a lot in this tweet about China. Right?
They're talking about China.
Jack Jernigan comes in and says that. She says, you only think that because you identify everyone who criticizes U.S. foreign policy as a Russian propagandist. And then he says, when's the last time you criticized China or Russian foreign policy? They are the invading aggressors in these instances, and yet crickets from you makes one wonder about your motivations. Hey, Jack Jernigan, nothing sounds AI generated about that name. I'll tell you that.
I think, well, Mark in the Dark maybe is real. I can't tell because this
guy, Mark in the Dark. I think that's real.
Yeah, the Jack Jernigan thing sounds auto-generated stupid.
Yes.
Like, oh, you're Russian propaganda. There's a lot of.
But this is that I need you to say something bad about. No, do you understand that Caitlin Johnstone? She'll give you the alternative view at the stuff you're not hearing from the mainstream news.
Are you like OCD? Like, is this like step on a crack, break your mother's back if you don't say something bad about Russia or China? To balance out
that's what people do. They always saying that about me. You're not criticizing the people I hate enough. I know. Then you should go watch another show that criticizes the people that you already hate already.
There's a whole government for that, for criticizing Russia and China.
Yes, that's right.
And a proxy war for that.
There's a whole multi-billion-dollar apparatus, hundreds of billion, trillions.
Hey, Jimmy, why are you going after pedophile priests and not the devil?
Yeah, right. Right.
The devil's the enemy.
But that's all they do. Mark in the Dark. When was the last time you criticized China or Russian foreign policy? When was the last time Russia or China had military bases all around the world like this? Who do you think is the aggressor in these situations, Mark in the Dark? I think I know why you call yourself Mark in the Dark, because you're in the dark when it comes to foreign policy. That's for sure. Look at wherever you go, there's going to be a United States military. This is how all empires end, by the way.
I like Mark in the Dark is much like Christ said, before you pull the rafter from your own eye, attack your brother's.
Yes, that's right. So this would be called this is the log in our own eye. And before you pull the splinter from your brother's eye, pull the log from your own eye. And this is the log in our eye. These are all United States military bases. No other country has this. This is just the United States.
As it should be.
Go to jimmydore.com to see my new stand-up special, COVID Lies Are Funny. For only $10, you get to become a premium member, too. And come see us do our live shows. We're going to be doing stand-up comedy in Milwaukee, Nashville, Honolulu, Los Angeles, Northampton, Massachusetts, Syracuse, New York, Cohoes, New York, Hartford, Connecticut, Baltimore, Maryland, and more. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for all those tickets.